Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is my continuation of my report in the subject of Renaissance, and my topic is Ferdinand Braudel life. Ferdinand Braudel was a French historian and leader of the Analysis School. His scholarship focused on three main projects: the Mediterranean, in 1923 to 49, then 1949 to 66. Pangalawa is Civilization and Capitalism 1955 to 1979, and The Unfinished Identity of France 1970 to 85. He was a member of the Analysis School of French historiography and social history in the 1950s and 1960s. He was a student of Henry Hauser. Okay, si Braudel ay ipinanganak noong August 24 sa 1902 in Nomevillia in Ornois sa France. Then, yung araw ng kanyang pagkamatay, he died 27 November 1985 sa edad na 83 sa lugar din ng Closes, France. Braudel in-emphasize niya o binigyang diin ang role of large-scale socio-economic factors in the making and writing of history. He can also be considered one of the precursors of world systems theory. At the age of 7, his family moved to Paris. His father, who was a natural mathematician, aided him in his studies. Braudel also studied a good deal of Latin and Little Greek. Braudel was educated at a Lycée Voltaire and the Sorbonne, where at the age of 20 he was awarded at agrès in history. While teaching at the University of Algiers between 1923 to 32, ibig sabihin parang 10 years to, he became fascinated nabighani ba yan by the Mediterranean Sea and wrote several papers on the Spanish princes or presence in Algeria in the 16th century. During this time, si Braudel began his doctoral thesis on the foreign policy of King Philip II of Spain. From 1932 daw to 35, he nagturo in the Paris Lycée, sa secondary school or sa high school of Arthur Condorcet and Henry IV. In 1937, Braudel returned to Paris from Brazil. However, the journey was as significant as arriving at his destination. On his way, he met Lucien Febvre, who was the co-founder of the influential Analysis Journal. Kung maalala natin, siya ay naging member ng Analysis School, no? Then dito natagpuan or nakilala niya ang co-founder ng Analysis Journal. Then the two had book passes on the same ship. Sa isang sasakyan lang sila sumakay. Then Braudel had started archival research on his doctorate on the Mediterranean when he fell under the influence of the Analysis School around 1938. Also around this time, he entered the École Pratique des Hautes Etudes. Kaya na po bahala sa pagbasa. As an instructor in history, he worked with Lucien Febvre, who would later read the early versions of Braudel's magnum opus and provide him with editorial advice. At the outbreak of war in 1939, nung kiniklab daw ang laban, he was called up the military service, and in 1940 was taken prisoner by the Germans. Tinawag daw siya para manilbihan. Then, he was held at the POW camp. Doon siya na-assign sa POW camp in Mainz from 1942 before being transferred to POW camp near Lubeck, where he remained to the rest of the war. Nananatili pa rin siya doon sa labanan na yon. While in that camp, Braudel drafted his great work the Mediterranean and the Mediterranean world in the age of Philip II. Without access to his book or notes and relying only on his prodigious memory in a local library. Braudel became the leader of the second generation of analysis historians after 1945. So, sa ngayon, naging leader na siya sa analysis historian after 1945. In 1947, with Debris and Charles Moritz, Braudel obtained funding from the Rockefeller Foundation in New York and founded the noted section for economic and social sciences at the École Pratique des Arts et Études. He received an additional $1 million from the Ford Foundation in 1960. Okay, in 1962, he wrote a history of civilizations at the basic for a history course. But its rejection of the traditional event-based narrative was too radical for the French Ministry of Education, which in return rejected it. In 1942, Braudel was elected to the Collège de France upon Fabre's retirement. He co-founded the academic journal Revue Économique in 1950. He retired in 1968, and in 1983 naman, he was elected to the academic franchise. Okay, his first book, ito yung kanyang first book, La Méditerranée et le monde méditerranéen à époque de Philippe II, 1949. In English, The Mediterranean and the Mediterranean World at the Age of Philip II was his most influential and has been described as a watershed. Braudel's last and most personal book was The Identity of France, which was unfinished at the time of his death in 1985. Hindi raw natapos itong ginawa niya ng last libro or book. Unlike many of Braudel's other books, he made no secret of his profound love of his country, remarking at the beginning that he had loved France as if she were a woman, reflecting in his interest with the lags. And then, Julie Braudel's concern in identity de la France was with the centuries and millennia instead of the year of his decades.